So this is what we have now, January 22 ambassador meeting. We're going to have a bit of a welcome, which has been, some informal conversations here. And then we'll go around the circle. I'd love to get an introduction from each of you and, just introduce yourself and tell me a story about you and the Oar Board from 2021. There was one question that came through. I think it was from John Stapleton. So I'm going to answer that question. Hey, Marty. So I see you got my iPad working. And so we'll go through the questions. We're rolling out a program called growyourrowingclub.com. So I'd like to tell each of you about that and to kind of stimulate, see what we're thinking. Again, we're passionate at Oar Board about getting more people on the water using this equipment. And I think most of us on this call, share that, share that goal. And then we'll go around and share goals for 2022. So do you have any goals for 2022 you want to share with the group? And specifically, do you have any goals with the Oar Board for 2022? Curious about how you want to use it and what sort of involvement you want to do with that. But then on a grander context, how does that fit into your bigger plan? What are the bigger plans that you have and the bigger goals you have for 2022? And that's essentially what we're going to work through over the next over the next little while. So is there anything else that that you'd like to add to this? Okay, well, let's get going and let's have a welcome, and we'll switch to some stories. I'll also have the chat box open if people want to use the chat box. That's a great way to have offline conversations. Quick reminder that it's general good hygiene on Zoom. If you've got noise in the background, to be mute when you're not talking, and when you do start talking, take off the mute. So let's start with the stories, and we will. How about we start with Ryan? So tell me about where you were in 2022 and what your involvement with Oar Board has been in 2021, or 2021. I mean, I put the wrong number up there. It's 2021 stories, not 2022 stories.
I think this is my third season now with the Oar Board as an official that needs to stay in physical condition. It's been a great tool and asset for me in maintaining my fitness during the off season. Was out on the lake. I'm originally from Winnipeg, live in Minneapolis now, but have a cottage back in Manitoba that we get to for the summers. Virtually every day at some point I'm out on the water with the Oar Board. I can't say enough of how great of a tool it is for my fitness. If I can give one story, and this is a kudos to Diana. Last year I had a little mechanical issue with my Oar Board, and just to give you some feedback on how great of a company this is, contacted Diana with regards to it. Part was shipped out in no time, was back on the water, and that really speaks a lot to this company and how you treat your customers. I did miss it the couple of weeks where I was waiting for the part, but when the part showed up, it looked like there'd been some modifications to it, some improvements, and wasn't an issue past that. So Diana, I really appreciate you doing that for me. As for 2022, continue on using it, and I've had a lot of interest in people on the lake who want to get access to one and try it out. A lot of interest in, and hopefully that'll transition to some sales for the company.
Thank you, Ryan. That's great to hear.
Yeah, thanks for the story, Ryan. And it's great to see that you're able to integrate it into your fitness plan, because you've obviously have to stay in shape, not only just a sharp mind, sharp eyes, but sharp body, and everything really plays into it, and it's not an easy job that you have as an official. So we're happy and proud to be part of your fitness plan, certainly. How about we move to Ray? Ray, what's happened with you in 2021?
Well, I looked back at my log because I've logged all my rowing, and it looks like I've only been on the Oar Board about 10,000 meters a month. So number one is increase that, because I'm on the erg 70 or 80,000 meters a month, and I need to, get that more. I guess the thing is, by the time you load it in the truck, drive over to the lake, which is about 3 miles for me, or the Oklahoma River, get on the water, then return all that back to where it came from. It's 3 hours, it's a 3-hour thing. Going to the gym for the erg for 10K is 1 hour. So it's kind of a time thing. But I did get my sister out at, I don't know if you can see in the background there, Lake Hefner is nice, big, flat reservoir lake here in Oklahoma City with a real nice beach. So my sister's never rode anything. I got her on the oar board. I tied a rope to her so she couldn't get too far away, and just try to walk her through the steps of rowing. When she get too far out, I just reel her back in, and then let her try and take off again. And first time she sat on the thing and started moving the board. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's great to hear.
I've only had one ambassador contact, and he was from Washington, as in, Seattle. And I'm not sure why he called me. Maybe he's area code 425. I'm 405. I think we got confused there.
That was the reach out. And yeah, it is, especially if you don't live right on the water, it is a bit more effort to get down to the water than to, get to the gym from a time efficiency. But there is something special about being able to get on the water, and I commiserate with that. I would love to be on the water so much more than I'm able.
I think it's twice as hard to row on the water physically as it is on the erg. I don't know if everybody else gets that too, but using like a Concept 2 erg or something. But I talk to a lot of kayakers, and I point to the logo on the arm piece that goes up, because they don't hear what I'm saying. I say Oar Board. And what I thought about doing is, on the side of the seat base, it says Oar Board, but it's not highlighted. It's just chiseled in there. And I thought that should be white so that you could see right there where it says Oar Board,
Yeah, that'd be a great addition. That's a great idea. Obviously, it takes time to integrate that into the manufacturing plan.
Oh yeah, I'll get some white paint.
Yeah, white paint. It's small business problems. It would be great. It'd be great to have a team of engineers and manufacturers instantly on call. Oh, make it happen. Let's thank you very much, Ray. And I love the story of you putting your sister out there on the oar board, tying her to the rope. That's a really good one. How about you, Beth? Are you able to join in?
I am. Yes. I'm in actually just outside of Seattle right now, visiting my mom, but normally I'm from the East Coast. I live in southeastern Massachusetts, right near the ocean, right by a river that goes out into the ocean. So that's my favorite place for oar boarding. I didn't get to do a lot this summer because we've had a lot of family issues happening. So I've been back and forth to Seattle quite a bit. But my goal next summer is to just row as much as I can. I love it. It is, though, the loading it up and putting in my car and all that, I have to make sure that I can get out to make it worth it, basically. Because, and I got the big one too, which, because I wanted to do, because I live near the ocean, so I wanted to be comfortable going out by myself. And so it's kind of big to handle sometimes, and I probably look pretty goofy, like struggling down to the water with it, but I've got some systems, and it's awkward, but it works. So, but I love it. Love it. And it was a gift to me from my son and daughter-in-law, because I saw it a couple of years ago online, and they got it for me. I also row whale boats, but during COVID that became difficult because we were shut down. So that's why they got me the oar board.
That's that's really amazing. And I think one of the key benefits that people love about the Oar Board is the ability to be independent with it.
Yeah.
Even though
Yeah.
it can be a little awkward, it's that independence is super important to be able to just do it on your
Yeah.
own.
Yeah.
And if there's, one of the things that's useful as, even as an ambassador to share with the community, if you rig up any ingenious systems that allow you to use it, it's something that's good, and it's definitely worth sharing, and pass it on
Okay.
to Diana, myself, and we'll
Okay.
even blast it out to the broader group. You can post it on the Facebook group if you're into Facebook.
Okay.
But that's those types of, I don't know if you want to call them hacks. I don't like the word hack because, but it's, learnings or cuts of how to maintain independence with oar boarding.
Right.
Yeah. That's one of the reasons why we put this thing out there, for people to do it on their own, not having to rely on anyone else.
Yeah, that's the best. I mean, I'm a pretty independent person. So being able to do something that I can do on my own when I decide to do it, that's super important for me. So I think that's a real big draw of the Oar Board. So
yeah, well, that's great. And
yeah.
I have it in the back of my mind for you to give a presentation to the rest of the ambassadors about whale boating.
Yeah.
At some point, it would be.
Yeah.
I'd love to get you to share, but a little bit
Yeah.
more about what that is, because it's an interesting.
It's cool. Definitely cool. Yeah.
Yes. Maybe when COVID's over and
Yeah.
more.
Some more current pictures.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Beth, and great to see you in Seattle. Let's move on to David. David, where are you coming from? And tell us about 2021.
Well, hello, everybody. Actually, as I mentioned in an email, I don't know if you had a chance to see it. Was it just today? I'm a total newbie. I live right across the street now from the lake I grew up on. I just moved back this past summer. It's a lake that's big enough for power boats, but unless you are waterfront, it's real hard to get a slip and the available slips. So started looking at various rowboats and sailboats and such, and was delighted to find the Oar Board. When I finally got around to ordering it, by the time it came fine, but by the time it came, water was already too cold and the weather too cold for me to go out and use it. So it is actually sitting in the room right next to where I am. It's like 10 feet away from me through this wall. And I'm eager to get out on it as soon as I can. I do row at a fitness facility. It's kind of one of my more fun exercises. It's just a whole lot more fun than pushing weights and things, So at any rate, that's my story. If that sounds like a lot of you are in like northern areas where you also deal with the cold weather. So tell me, share, if you will, like what type of gear do you wear to stay warm when you're on the oar board? If I was in a sit-in canoe or kayak or whitehall boat or something like that, I think I'd be sure I would be staying a lot drier, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to get wet first few times I go out. And so, whatever advice you can give. I will say also one thing. I discovered on this lake, new since when I moved away as a kid and came back, there is a rowing club. They have a trailer with a set of looks like about eight person skulls. And I was talking to it's been inactive for a little while, but I was talking to the guy who kind of heads it up on the lake, and he is interested in getting rowing started. Seems to me the Oar Board or something like it could really be an asset, because you can't always get 6-7 people to row, and you can do this on your own time. So that's where I'm at. Oh, by the way, I did submit. I'm not officially an ambassador. I did submit an application, I thought, back in the day. There is still somebody from my town that's listed. I'm in Sparta, New Jersey, actually. but I don't think that he's on Lake Mohawk, which is my lake. So that's where I am. Thank you for your invitation. I enjoy stories, and let me pass the baton to the next person. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, thank you, David. And maybe for the sake of time, I'll write down the question of winter gear, and I'll put that into the question section. And then also, I believe I got your email. I forwarded off to Diana and Clark, our tech person, to just make sure that we get you in the mix as an ambassador, because we want to make sure that you're listed and included. We got the email from one other person, which I'm blanking on right now, but I sent that information out as well.
Oh, thank you for that.
And yeah, Clark, our IT person, to just call and let us know that he missed those, and he's updating the website right now as we're on this meeting. So it should all be on there shortly.
Okay, wonderful. Well, let's move on to Laura. Laura Spence, how are you? Tell us about 2021.
I'm good. Yeah, I'm doing well. I'm in Vancouver, BC, and had a really good year with my Oar board. I'm getting faster at setting it up. And I was going to say about winter gear, always remember to put it together, put the riggers on the right way, because I did do that incorrectly. Like the third time I put it out, and boy, I mean, it kind of tries to half dip into the water right away. So make sure you put the riggers on the right way and strap it on the correct way before you go out in the winter for sure. You're going to have a wet bottom, but I'm getting better. I'm a bit of a panicker when it comes to technical stuff, so I know I'll get faster. But I know I took the Oar board out 3 times with girlfriends and got so much praise and views from people in kayaks and paddle boards. They're like, what is this thing? Where did you get it? And so it was lovely, and I tried to talk about it with people as much as I could, and very independent, because I could take it to different inlets and lakes and oceans around here, of which there's lots. And I use the paddle board as well, because my daughter and her friends loved it, and it's so durable and so stable that it's kind of like a 2-in-1 fun thing. And this fall, I showed the Oar board to a couple from a nearby community, and they bought one. So that was my first showing and my first positive experience on that. And yeah, it was really fun, and I'm really going to enjoy my new mirror that I picked up from Diana's the office in Victoria. And yeah, I sort of committed here to try to row, wait for it, once a month between March and October. So maybe I'll commit to that and get more time on the water, because it's so breathtaking in the sun.
Yeah. So row once a month from
between March and October.
March to October. That's a great goal.
And I want to row with Diana.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we can hear, because every time I say I'm coming to Victoria, she's like, I'm not in Victoria. So hopefully we can make that work.
We're going to be in Vancouver for a bit too in March during the Vancouver Marathon as well.
Okay, well, that could work. Let me know.
All right, yeah, we'll try and work something out. We'll be there for probably 3 or 4 displaying. We're going to be displaying at the marathon with the Oar board and the Whitehall boats as well.
That's neat. Ooh, I wonder if it's the convention center. You have to see if you get a water view from the place where you are, and then you just have to. We'll time it, and then there's a lady from Deep Cove that's an ambassador as well with her Oar board, and we could just go out there and tell you, okay, we're rowing past right now.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. It's really good, and this is what we've seen even on the Facebook group. People from different locales getting together and going out in their Oar boards, and it's kind of like I've been part of cycling groups, which are like cafe destination cycling groups, where you go for a ride and you end up at a coffee shop. And I picture similar things happening with the Oar board, because it's such an accessible boat, and there's so much flexibility. And on the right water, where I know there's some waters where you can row along and you just pull the boats up on the beach and go to the little shop. So that's great. And hopefully there's ability to connect when we're in Vancouver. Let me see here. Who do we have next? Let's say, let's get John Stapleton. Where are you from? What was 2021 like, your experience with the Oar Board? Oh, you're still on mute.
There we go. For real, I'm here. I'm basically just outside Philadelphia, and I row all the time through the winter, through the summer, mostly though in a single scull or with other people in sculls. I belong to White Marsh Boat Club, and I have a cabin up in the mountains of PA, and it's a small lake, 65 acres, but they allow motorboats on it. And the Oar Board was the perfect solution. So when I go up there with my family, I take the Oar Board out and just pretend that the wakes are something to enjoy rather than something to be pissed off at. You know, because the motorboats are constant, but it's kind of fun. You know, you just get used to it. You plow through it. It's kind of like, I would imagine I've seen you guys rowing out in the ocean. It's got to be something like that. And my friend Ben, a rowing friend, he got 2 Oar Boards. He didn't buy the board itself from you guys, but he bought the rowing seat. So this warmer season, we're on the Schuylkill River. The water temperature right now is about 42. So we're not experimenting, but when it comes to summertime, we're going to get the 3 Oar Boards out and have a little Oar Board party for the club. I know that folks were interested in it when I brought it down last time. And then the same thing up at the mountain at the cabin. I row around and everybody's kind of like, whoa, what's that? What's that? And I just have to organize something on the Lakeside Facebook page to let them know I'll be up there and that they can come around to my place and give it a try. The people that I've set on the boat, even people that don't have any boat experience, as long as you hold on to it so they don't tip over when they first get on, it's kind of a no-brainer. They might not use the seat the way that a real rower would, but they're still having fun. And to the winter gear, I can speak to that because I row all the time. You know, tomorrow's going to be 25 degrees. I wear 2 layers on, you know, my bottom. I have a pair of silk underwear, top and bottom. And then I wear a pair of pants from JL Rowing. I don't know, some kind of spandex with wool socks. And then I might have some kind of sport shirt, long sleeve sport shirt. Again, it's not spandex, but it's whatever that they make that stuff out of. And then a rowing jacket. And that's plenty when you're actually rowing. And my question is, can you get the handles of the Oar Board to drop down a little bit? I haven't bothered to try to take it apart. I'm sure I can take that rigger apart, but I don't know that it will drop down any.
Yeah, by the handles, and I have that question in the in the question piece. From a very simple standpoint, no.
Okay.
Like it's the way it's been designed is to be as rugged and and bomb-proof as possible. And so to make something that you can kind of take apart and adjust, it's more difficult for someone coming from a flat water sculling background who's used to dialing in their single scull and saying, oh, if I were to lower the oar locks by 2 centimeters, then I'll have a little bit more room here. If I raise them, I have a bit more room there. And that's, we went for, in every boat that you make, you have to make a compromise. And so the compromise we made was, one size fits most. And there's,
I think I'm a lot shorter than you though.
Okay. What is your height, John?
I have shrunk down to someplace, if I'm lucky, 5'9".
5'9".
Yeah.
Well, the other thing that we have created is something called a kid rigger, which it's a rigger that has made the Oar Board or the rigging lower and smaller, so that a child who's 4'10", 5'2", or an adult who's, for that matter, because I know a few adults that are that size as well, could use the rowing rig. So we have kind of like a small and a large rigger now, and that's just been in the I guess in the innovation line, we've made up a few of them. And so that's
It's not a big deal. I thought that the other thing I can do is just get a seat pad and sit up a little bit higher. It's perfectly fine. I like rowing with it. It's just so like I do, I don't know, 20 to 40K a week in a scull. And then I go up on the weekend and I sit on the oar board and my hands go from, well, where they are for sculling to, yeah, exactly, to up there. And it's just like, takes me a little bit of time to get used to it up at the mountains. Then I go back and it takes me a little bit of time to get used to it. But no big deal.
Yeah, helps your brain learning.
There you go. No challenge, just like those waves.
Yeah.
Well, and the other thing, my goal for the oar board is my lake is really little. I think it's like a 1.5 kilometers one side to the other side. And I've been there 20 years, so I know it inside out. But there's a lake near me called Lake Wallenpaupack that is 6,000 acres. And that's going to be fun to explore next year.
Yeah, so explore the bigger lake next year.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be a lot of fun. And I'm curious to share with you the what we have with the Grow Your Rowing Club piece, and hopefully that'll give you a bit more information to share with White Marsh Boat Club, and I guess expand the minds of the people there to show them what potential can exist with these oar board units from a rowing club perspective. And I'll talk more about that later, but that's something we're excited about. Let's move to Carol, seeing as you just popped on screen in your smiling face.
Yes, hello. I'm new to this ambassador thing. I bought an oar board back in May of 20, just as we all got shut down, and including all the lakes. So my oar board got delivered and I put it together on the park next to my house, which is on Whitehall Street, and rode grass to start out. So I sent a little video clip to Facebook, but I don't know what happened to it, but it's there showing me rowing grass, putting it together and rowing grass. I have lakes nearby. This is McIntosh Lake. I'm in Longmont, Colorado. That is looking at Long's Peak in Rocky Mountain National Park. And that's the little lake that takes me about half an hour to row around. I live just a mile from a larger lake. It's 1.5 miles around that lake. And there is a little rowing club there where people have their sculling shells, etc. But we have wind quite often, and the oar board is a lot more stable. I'm a competitive race walker, and I use the rowing as alternate workouts. During the winter, I row in a rowing machine, but from the time the ice melts on the lakes till I can get out, I go out and row twice a week. And it only takes me about 1.5 hours to throw things up, the board up on my car, get to the lake, row for almost an hour, throw it back, get it back in my garage. And it's about the same amount of time I take when I'm race walking. When I do a workout, it's about 1.5 hours for that. I did add a pad, seat pad, because something about the seat gets my coccyx. So the seat pad wasn't to raise, but it did have the benefit of raising my, I'm about 5'7", so I didn't mind being raised up. So that was good. And that has helped a lot. I am not listed on the ambassador page so far, but people have asked me and things. And this past summer, one guy asked me about my boat. He was buying a boat in Seattle and he wanted to stock it with toys. And he bought 2 combos and 2 boards. And Diana worked with him to get the boards delivered to the boat yard where his boat was being readied in Seattle. So that was a lot of fun. So I'm hoping, I do go to a alumni summer camp near Lake Tahoe, and that's where I learned to row. They have 6 shells there, and everyone's always fighting to get the shells, and people go in the lake, and it's a pretty cold lake. So I'm going to try and sell them a couple of boards for beginners, see if they will buy. The guy who runs the camp is a university crew, so he's into that. So I'm hoping, my goal this year is to try and sell a couple more.
Yeah, well, that's great. That's really good news. And Yeah, I hadn't heard about that story, so that's a really good story. Especially guys with big boats want toys. You know, that's keep that in mind when you're talking to those NHL guys, Ryan.
Yeah. Yeah, but he was really, he has his own boat, and he brings
Yeah.
his own boat to this alumni camp, and, you know,
Yeah.
17-foot thing he drives. But he was saying, you know, I need something that can fold up and be packed away and stowed away, etc. When,
Yeah.
and this is one reason why he bought all the inflatable toys.
Yeah, it's a great addition to you know, to a big boat. You zoom somewhere, you unpack the toys, and you put them out. That's great. And I loved how when you first put it together, you just rode on grass. You know, keep it safe, keep it simple on first, and you know, maybe some motivation for even someone like David who hasn't yet set it up to set it up once or twice, just to, you know, wrap your head around the construction, so that when it's time to go out, you're less frustrated with the setup, because there is a bit of a learning curve off the start to just put all the pieces together. Well, once you understand it, it's relatively quick, but like anything, you've got to learn it. So thank you, Carol. And Bud, tell us about 2021.
Hi, can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I got my Oar Board in March and took it out right away. We have I live in Greenville, South Carolina, and we have a number of man-made lakes pretty close, within a half hour to an hour away. So I've been going to the closest one last year, and I always had a lot of people coming over to ask me what this thing was that I was on. And one funny story is I was back from my row, and I was getting ready to put it back in my car, and I looked to the right, and I saw this guy driving to my car from the bottom of the parking lot near the lake, and he got to my car, and he said, I had to just come up here and see what this thing was, because I saw you pass that pontoon boat out there, and I was wondering what in the heck you were rowing out there. It reminded me of seeing boats on the Charles River in Boston. And so we talked for probably a half hour or so. He's from Boston and had just moved down to South Carolina. But I've really enjoyed it. I try to figure out how to you know, transport it and unload it. That was a big challenge, and strapping it down to the board, strapping the rig down to the board. I always have to pull out my phone and look at my video, because I don't know what it is. I always get those that clamping mechanism wrong, and it takes at least 10 minutes. And the first time I did it, it was hot, really hot in March, and I was just dripping sweat by the time I figured it out. But thank God you guys had a video on your website, and I was able to use. And I just want to say thank you to Diana for all the help, and what a great customer service team you have. Just wonderful. So thank you, and I'm looking forward to rowing a lot more in 2022. I was hoping for a warm day. We've had some warm days the last couple of weeks, but I just didn't get out there. And then it rained. It was warm, but it was rainy. So hopefully I'll be able to get out before March this year, if we have one of those rare days where it's 80 degrees in the winter time down here. So
yeah. Well, that's
Thanks.
That's wonderful. You said you're North Carolina or South Carolina?
South Carolina. I'm in Greenville. It's on the western side of South Carolina. So we're about an hour and a half to the North Carolina border, Asheville and Charlotte. So kind of a triangle there, Asheville, Charlotte, and Greenville.
Yeah, well, it's great to hear your story. And it is funny when you bring the Oar Board out, you get all sorts of comments and curious people coming up saying, what is that contraption?
Exactly.
And ideally it's an opportunity to tell them about the boat and the equipment, and encourage them to get out on the, on their own. So thanks for the story, bud, and appreciate that.
Thank you.
Let's finish up with Marty, and then we'll move to Diana. Give us some highlights from 2021, and then I'll try to wrap it up and move on to talking about Grow Your Row Club and websites, and then we'll do one more quick circle to wrap up the call.
Okay. I'm Marty Hawk. I live in San Luis Obispo, California, and I think seems like I'm the only person on this call who actually gets to row 12 months of the year and doesn't have to worry about ice and snow. So we row in the lake here, and then I also row in Morro Bay. And to Ray's point, I posted, I demoed probably half a dozen times last year. I think I sold at least two, if not three Oar Boards. One of them was to a fellow who I never met before in my life, pushed him away from the beach in Morro Bay, which read ocean. And if he couldn't figure out how to get back, I was gonna have to swim after him, I guess. So I didn't tie a rope onto him, but he managed to come back and do just fine. I actually posted his video on the Facebook group. I teach rowing up at a lake here, hard shell rowing, like racing shells, as well as I have my oar board. I like to take oar board vacations. So I think I took 3 last year. So one of my goals this year is to take more, to go on the road, find some nice lake somewhere to row. I'd also love to find a way to get oar board, either ambassadors or just oar board owners, either regionally or ones who have the flexibility and kind of want to travel, to go take some oar board vacations, meaning like almost like backpacking. Take as many as we can put together to row out somewhere and throw up our tents and eat off our little propane stoves and do a little camping. I love doing that. I just can't find any of my friends here I can get them to get enough time to go do that. I like to backpack, so I've got all the backpacking stuff, and I have the 13-foot board, so I can put all my gear on there and off you go. So I'd like to do more of those next year or this year. I'd like to do more demos and obviously sell more boats as well. I also want to volunteer. I want to officially, in front of the group, volunteer to join Diana and Adam at the head of the Hooch and the head of the Charles to help out their sales efforts. I'll pay my way, guys. I just want to help you there and go. As long as I've rowed, and I've rowed since college, that's where I got recruited. I'm embarrassed to say I've never been to the head of the Charles. I had several opportunities and to row as well as just visit. And for one thing or other, because I live in California, just never seemed to make it. So maybe if I can get them to let me come volunteer for them, because they had such a great time, and I know the Oar Board gets such a good, gets great recognition. It sells itself. So if any of you, as long as you can get somebody to let you demo, it really does sell itself. I do have one demo coming up that Diana referred to me. He's a fellow moving to this area, and he isn't here yet. So I also, back to Adam and Diana, my wife and I, we have an RV, and we're coming to Vancouver either the first or second week in June. We're leaving the last week in May and working our way all the way up through Oregon, Washington, and into at least Victoria as well. And I'm willing to put my motorhome on the ferry and come over and see you folks. So I was going to try to schedule to see when, and hopefully you'll even be in town then.
Yeah. That's if you're in town, let us know. And if we're in, we'll take you out, give you a tour of the factory, get to meet everybody, face on. It's you got a lot going on. So I think we'd love to have you join at Head of the Charles. And maybe it was just, I guess COVID really threw threw a wrench in it and made it more difficult to invite people and bring people out. But certainly, the offer is out there. If we go back, we haven't really done our plan to see if we're going to go back to the Hooch and the Charles next year. I think we're planning on it, but I don't know that it's solid in the calendar yet. But yeah, 100%. It'd be amazing to have you out. And we had a couple ambassadors join us, just the local ones who drove there. And it was wonderful. It was amazing just to spend time at the booth. And it's kind of like a hobby job. If you're a people person like me, I don't know, I'm sitting at a booth and just talking to people about something that you love is so much fun, and the amount of people that you connect with. So it would be amazing to have you there, Marty.
Well, I wish I would have come this year on my own, just to share a quick story, because I know we're running long, but I taught a 16-year-old girl 2 years ago, summer before last, how to row. Never been in a boat in her life. she rows for Redwood Scullers, which is out of the San Francisco Bay Area. So she and 3 of her 16, 17-year-old skinny little girls take their quad cocks back there against 51 other crews, and they won. It was incredible. The video, of course, still posted, but I've watched that video like 100 times. I just can't believe it. But she was just a natural, rode really well. It's a really good crew that she rows with up there, but they went back there, never rode before in the head of the Charles, and actually gold medaled. Crazy.
That's amazing. That's a really good story. And it's inspiring. It's so inspiring to see these young people, you know, step up to the plate and have that kind of performance.
Yeah.
That's what keeps you coaching, I'm sure. It's that's great. Well, Diana, give us a quick summary of 2021. What are some highlights?
Hi, everyone. It was a really exciting year. Some of the highlights for our company was growing a little bit larger, producing a little bit more inventory, and being able to have inventory to sell at all times, which was a big challenge for a lot of companies during this time in COVID, with shipping and materials and all kinds of stuff. So that really kept our crew happy and working and actually expanding a little bit more to be able to keep up, which was always a good thing and a good thing to sort out. And then the traveling. We haven't been anywhere forever. So this is the first time traveling again since COVID. Also the first time that we brought the Oar Board to both the head of the Hooch and the head of the Charles. And like Adam said, Marty, we'd love to have other people coming and helping out there. That sounds awesome. We'll talk about that soon. Both events were just really great, really exciting. We definitely want to go back next year. The Oar Board was taken really well. It's definitely everyone being racers and shells and stuff. It was a little bit intimidating starting and walking into the head of the Charles in Boston, and not sure how the feedback was going to be, but it was just super positive. Everyone was great. We did well at both events, and we had Adam there with us, which was good backing. We had a lot of his crew. Some of the guys he actually won the gold with were there, and they did a little alumni race in the head of the Charles as well. So it was really cool. It was just a really neat experience to have something so different. And also, what I thought was really cool, at both locations, we had people that walked by that were like, hey, I have one of those and I love it, and that I'd never met before. You know, I knew their name once we started talking. And so it's a really great way to get back out there, just show you how much you miss being out traveling, and showing us how much the Oar Board should be out at all kinds of new events that we had never done before. And because of these outdoor events starting sooner than conventions and different indoor events, that's what kind of made us push to doing this different different show than an indoor cottage show or a summer life show or something like this. So that's one thing that kind of came good out of the COVID, is going to the outdoor events like that and doing so well at them and having such great feedback from them, and getting to meet other ambassadors, and just everything about both those events were exciting for us. And we definitely will be back at them next year. And we're just working the same thing what Adam mentioned. We'll be working on our calendars shortly to fill it up for what we can do for 2022. But our main goal for the company is to get out there more, be seen more, and be at more events and travel more.
Yeah, and I think that's great. And what we'll do is when we get the calendar together, we'll put it out to the ambassadors. And, Marty has obviously expressed interest, and others have too. So if you're in the area, we'd love to have you join the booth. And if you want to come in to help out too, it's great. We're all about building community, around this, this equipment and this activity. So it's really exciting and a good thing to do. I'd say for me, 2021, got out on the Oar Board a number of times. Highlight for me was that we actually, and I mentioned this earlier, we developed the kid rigger. So I've got 3 kids, and was able to put them on this smaller rigger. And part of I've been a lifelong rower. For those of you who don't know, I not only went to the Olympics, I started rowing when I was 12 years old, and then rowed at all different levels. And now in sort of call it middle age, raising families, householding age, I'm just looking for ways to spend time with my kids, but also stay connected with a sport that I love. And so this has been, that was one of the highlights, taking the kids out a couple times, and just showing them the Oar Board and the sport, and tootling around on the lake, and just having fun and reconnecting with the joy of sport, which is something that sometimes you lose at the highest level. And it's nice just to reconnect with nature, with the motion, with your body, with yourself. It was quite wonderful. So I wanted to move on to showing you a little bit about this Grow Your Rowing Club project that we've been working on. I'll load up the screen right here. And if you go to, I'll put the link actually in the chat box, if I can load up the chat right here. And then we'll move to goals afterwards. Looks like Laura's up for a camping vacation with you, Marty.
All right.
So 2 people make a plan happen. So now you just have to make the plan and then invite more ambassadors. And maybe if you're interested, we could send even emails out to the full ambassador list to see if there's interest in that sort of thing. And obviously the Facebook group too. So we've got this website we put together called Grow Your Rowing Club. We put it together in preparation to go to the head of the Charles and the head of the Hooch and talk to more traditional rowing type people. And there's a lot of different quick links of what you can find on this website, just showing how different rowing clubs have used the Oar Board and has integrated it into their programming. The challenge by bringing the Oar Board into a rowing club is that it's a little bit different from a traditional flat water rowing. People are they want to get on a flat water scull, and once you've learned how to row a flat water scull, it's different from rowing an Oar Board. So people need to understand how to use it and what benefits it actually brings to the club. And so what I see this is we're growing the sport. We're bringing more people into the sport who wouldn't otherwise have been in the sport by integrating the Oar Board into the rowing club framework. And we talk about novices, but on this call, we haven't talked about disabled rowers. So some disabled rowers have found benefit on the Oar Board because it is so much stable. Recreational rowers and drop-in rowers. So people who come by the rowing club and say, hey, do you have a boat I could rent for an hour? And most people who have a traditional rowing club look at them and say, no, you can't row this scull for an hour. Like, we need to take you out for a lesson and train you for a number of weeks. And then you have to be certified. And then you can go out in the single scull on your own for an hour. But there's a long pathway. But with the Oar Board, oh, you want to row for an hour? Come here, give me $25, take the Oar Board out, and then come back in. And so then they're paying for the equipment, they're paying for their time, and then you're getting more people out active on the water, and you're growing that sport, which is really why a rowing club should exist, to get more people active, build that community. And you can see the other numbers that we put up. This is what we saw. You'll get 9 recreational rowers for a camp at $500 each on an Oar Board, and that's $500. At $500, that's 45. That pays for one Oar Board right there. A simple summer camp. What we had was one rowing club who ran summer camps for 9 weeks, and they paid for all of their Oar Boards. You get campers, corporate challenge, even birthday parties, rentals. So there's different ways of breaking this down that traditionally you're not able to do with flat water racing shells or the other equipment that exists at a rowing club. So this just helps grow the rowing club. And I'm going to zoom down here and we can talk through this, because you can see it. If you implement it properly at a club, the equipment can pay for itself, which is great from a rowing club, which is very conscious about revenues and making sure that they're being smart with their equipment budget, to maximize spend, maximize time on the water. You can reduce the learn to row, the time from learning to row to being in a boat on your own. Literally in 5 to 10 minutes, you can be on an Oar Board on your own, enjoying the water alone. And that has been shown to really connect people to the sport and really understand what it's about. So that is one of the really key points for this. And there's a few case studies that we've gone through, and I'll talk to 2 of them, the Argonaut Rowing Club and the Waybridge Rowing Club. And you can also see Hong Kong Rowing Club has been using the Oar Boards in Hong Kong to help grow, and they've got a very precise program that they've set up. Oklahoma City Boat Club has done that. Ray was talking about that. And but Waybridge Rowing Club, they set it up as you know, to reduce barriers of entries for learn to row, essentially. So whenever someone showed up to their club, instead of saying you have to wait until we were running our 6-week learn to row to understand how to use a racing shell, come on this boat right away. And because the boat is so stable, you didn't have to have a coach boat following them all the time. You could put them out there with a waist life jacket and say, you know, go out for an hour, tootle around, figure it out. And that has been really great for them. And then when they're not using it, it's easy to store in the boathouse that has very limited storage capacity. So that's how Waybridge has done it. The Argonaut Rowing Club put together a program this year, you know, in spite of COVID and possibly even motivated by COVID, where they purchased 6 Oar Boards and integrated it into their programming. And I said this earlier, where they sold camp memberships and we're able to get 107 new athletes exposed to rowing through Oar Boards, which was really exciting. You know, getting more people exposed to the sport, more people on. They set in motion a rental scheme because they're in a high traffic area where lots of people walk by. They've figured out the insurance problem, and they're purchasing a few more boards this year to grow their club program. So this is the Grow Your Rowing Club program that we have out there. And if any of you want to have more conversations with me offline, please just send me an email, and we'll keep talking about it. The goal is obviously to grow the sport and get more of these boards out there and help people access of the boats and everything. So you can see it right there. I also wanted to just throw up the Oar Board rowing community here on Facebook, and I see a number of you on there. I see Ray and Marty will post. But you see that people are posting pictures from all over the place. You've got the Korean oar boarders who are posting, which is great to see. You got Tracy from who's in Chattanooga. We met her at the race. She's looking for people to go oar boarding with. Some newbies come on board and like, hey, I don't understand this equipment. Can you help me out? Other people post their adventures, which makes me really want to go rowing in Japan, actually. Gifu. That's beautiful. So it's a good community, and it's a good way to get yourself motivated to get out there and explore new waters and move this forward. So I think that's really what we want to do. So I was going to go and do the goals for 2021 or 2022, and some of you had actually shared them, but we're getting right to the end of the time. So I'm thinking we move over to the chat box. And everybody, I just want you to think about it with your Oar Board. What's your Oar Board goal for 2022? And we had some great ones shared already, and I'd just like you to tap in. I know Carol Wilkinson had said she wants to talk to the Tahoe Club to see if you can get some Oar Boards for the alumni camp. Marty was saying more demos. He wants to do an Oar Board vacation and camping trip. Join Oar Board at Head of the Charles. He's never been to Head of Charles. Get it off the bucket list. And Laura had said she wants to get out on the Oar Board once a month from March to October. So simple goals. Just typing them into the box, into the chat box, and I think that'll just help. Whenever you're ready, type them in, and then I can read them out. Yeah, so we got Ray's going to row once a week from April to November. That's amazing. Beth, increase visibility on our local river in Westport. Go to the Head of the Charles in 2022. It'd be amazing. Looks like we've got some ambassadors already. But one more goal: try a kayaking seat on my Oar Board and see if I can expand my watercraft capabilities when traveling. Carol, that's amazing. And this is a conversation we've had in the design room. Is Can we create some kind of kayak addition to the stand-up paddleboard rowing option to make it more of a MacGyver boat, multi-use boat toy, so that you kayak, row, stand-up paddleboard? So if you figure anything out, Carol, let us know, because we're trying to figure that out on our side too.
Okay, I got seats from 2 of my inflatable kayaks. I'll give it a try as soon as the lakes melt.
Okay, yeah, send us pictures, send us notes. It'd be really cool to see. John's going to have an Oar Board party at the WBC at the boathouse in where is it? The White
Marsh Boat Club.
White Marsh Boat Club and Fiddle Lake.
Schuylkill.
Yeah, so that'll be great.
More confusing. White Marsh Boat Club is in Conshohocken.
Great names.
He has all those Indian names, Native American.
Yeah, they're great names, great history. And we got Bud, get out once a month starting March, and convince some friends to get an oar board and join you. Yeah, that's great. It's even better to do it as a group. Ton of fun. Oar board camping trips, Beth. Yes. Annual Oar Board rally is Marty Hawk. So maybe we get an Oar Board rally going. So get a bunch of oar boarders from around the world, come to somewhere, kind of like a Grand Fondo. Is that what you're thinking, Marty?
Yep. Yeah.
So oar boarders come together, we row from point A to point B, and yeah, have a time. That sounds great. I love that idea. Lake Mohawk Rowing Club, it says David, if incorporating boards into the program. So these are, yeah, great goals for 2022, and it's wonderful to see each and every one of you. And I just want to put it out there, right? We're hardworking, but we're also friendly and approachable. So if there's anything that you need from us offline, please don't hesitate to reach out. Part of this exercise is building community, and we see each other's faces on Zoom, and it's slightly different to connect on the phone, but that's we get to know each other that much more offline, and definitely connect with each other offline. This is a big part of what we do is building community and rowing together, and that's that's a key part of oar boarding and what we're trying to do here. So we're at the end. We're going to let's go around and we'll do a one-word close. Give me a one-word close of how you're feeling right now and today. We'll start with Ryan. What's your one word?
Jealous.
Jealous.
I'm jealous. I'm jealous of you guys that live in the south. They can get out on your oar boards more often than us up in Canada, in Manitoba. If I can just ask one thing, Dana, and this is I'm always hesitant on putting holes in equipment that don't belong there. Has there been any thought of doing like an attachment for a water bottle holder or a cell phone mount that goes with the GoPro?
Yeah, there is a couple options we've been testing out. I have a couple of links. I'll send you a couple of things I've seen people do, a couple of different little ideas. And we have been trying a few of them out. Haven't found anything that's perfect. The problem with the water bottle holder is a lot of them are designed to clamp on the struts, so then you're removing the whole time. The GoPro mount end can have a certain thing that can adjust for a cell phone, so that's something we can look into getting that worked out. So that would be a good position for that. The other water ball option I've done is something that's on has a little hook on the end. You can clip it to one of the, if you have Oar Boards, you can clip it to one of the clips you're not using already to keep it in place. And I've also had a customer show me they put a bike rack, a water bottle bike rack, just like a little, $5 one from MEC, and drill it into the side under the seat. But then again, that's something we weren't sure about, wanting to have to drill it as well. So it's something we still are trying to work on, but those are a couple little ideas. And yeah, we'll keep working on something better, because the idea of having it moving back and forth on the strut is just not super effective. And it's hard to get something steady found things that would just be like a shorter cup, it would be top heavy and tip over and stuff. So it just didn't really work that well for what's been designed out there because we have the sliding rigger.
What about a mount that would go right on that, on the stop where the GoPro mount goes on now?
Yeah, so there's something you could do that for the phone and all that. We could change that because it's all Scotty mount. So there's a couple different cell phone ones. We've been looking at a couple like that can stay in a waterproof case right now. We're waiting on a few to come in. What's been happening is a lot of places are out of stock of stuff like that right now. So we haven't got anything in front of us. We should have something hopefully in the next little bit here to look into that a little bit more. That definitely is where you do it for your cell phone. As far as the water bottle holder, we still have to perfect the best one. We do sell that water bottle side clamp, but we sell it for our boats. But on the Oar board, it just doesn't seem to work as effectively because of the moving part. So I don't know if it could be something that you can catch your water that way without getting out of your seat. But what I normally end up doing is just, having a little clip on the side and clipping it to one of the extra rings on the deck if you have our board and have that ability.
Yeah, that's what I have. I have a water bottle with a ring at the top of it, and I just use a carabiner and one of the D rings.
Yeah, took it on one of the D rings.
Okay. Then I have a GoPro. My GoPro mount sits on top of my camera tower, or whatever you call it, shaft.
Yeah.
Great, thank you.
That's good. So thank you. Jealous and more words. I just want to be conscious. I'm okay spending this time. And I just want to make sure that if you have to go, please leave. There's, we said we were going to end at 2, but I want to get everybody else, if you're willing to stick around before the one word close and maybe a little bit extra, just like Ryan gave us. So we'll move to Beth. What's your one word close and a little extra?
Grateful just to be on the water. I love it. And it just makes my life so much better. Even to think about it, I'm so excited about getting back on the water. So, in my Oar board. So thank you. I guess that's my 2-word closes. Thank you.
Ray.
Yeah, I'm excited. I just finished 10 million meters for my lifetime mark. It took 12 years, but this year I'm going to do 1 million, right? In 1 year. So see if I can get 600 miles down.
Amazing. Laura.
I'm pretty inspired right now. So you did a very good thing organizing a meeting, and people are like, man, I don't want to go to a meeting, but now we're all inspired. So good job.
So inspired. Boom.
Inspired.
Fired up. That's good. David.
I'm going with fitness. 2 words, core fitness.
Core fitness. Core fitness. Yeah, it's getting fitter. It's a good time to think about it. Carol.
Anticipation. Looking forward to getting out on the lakes again and traveling. I've got world championships in Finland and other places, etc. And I'm thinking about, what do I want to take my Oar board with me? Might be fun.
Fjording.
Doc.
Oar board fjording.
I'm going to Norway and Finland, so
Yeah.
Scandinavia.
Yeah, that would be amazing. It travels really well. So if
It does, yes.
It's that could be exciting.
Yeah, I haven't flown with it yet, driven around with it, but not flown with it yet. So that would be a new thing, anticipating.
Anticipation. That's wonderful. Marty.
Positive.
Positive.
It's going to be a positive year.
Yeah, it's sounding positive.
I'm betting on
Yeah, a lot of good energy coming from from your pixel on the screen. So it's great to have you, as always, on the call. John, your word. You're on mute, John. John, you're mute.
Technology only works when you make it work. So travel is the word. Why stop at Lake Wallenpaupack? I could go further than that. I could take it down to the beach, or I could take it to California. So
travel. Yeah,
you're all welcome.
I think my Mini would look really cool with my board stuck in the passenger seat, everything just like flying out the passenger seat. It's great mileage that way too.
Yeah, would be great. I'd love to see a picture of that. That'd be
me too.
Well, and go visit Marty when you get to California. He'll show you a time.
You bet.
Morro Bay is a great place.
Bud, what's your word?
Well, I gotta be honest, if it's just for today in this meeting, my word is hungry, because it's a little after 5 p.m. here, and my wife is cooking up something and it smells awesome. And I don't know what it is, but I'm ready to find out. And just one thing about the water bottle comment, I was trying to think of some way to attach one too, and I ended up getting it's a little small fanny pack that holds a water bottle. And I keep that strapped to me so that I reach around back and grab it. So just FYI.
That's great.
That's great. Like like the marathoner, ultra marathoner fanny pack.
Yeah.
Right. Diana, what's your one word?
I'd have to say adventure, as in more adventure this year. I'm excited for the world to be opening up a little bit and get out there and meet more Oar Board owners and ambassadors and just do a lot more stuff this year. So I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah, adventure would be a good thing. And my word is community. So grateful for each and every one of you. And again, I think we're united by this passion for a unique motion, a unique way of staying fit, finding new places to explore, and staying healthy. So it's a lot of fun spending time with you, and I look forward to seeing you next time, seeing you online, seeing you on email, or whatever way we connect.
That's good.
So thank you very much, everybody, and we will see you next time we see you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Adam. Thanks, Diana.
Thanks.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Bye.
Thanks. Happy New Year.